there anything you saw in the film from Toledo last week that it's be beneficial for you guys going forward?
Yeah, I thought the game was played on both sides. I thought we played physical on both sides, and notch above the week before. Kind of gotten back to, competing. Obviously, it was 31-24 late in the third quarter, so we had a chance. We got to, the thing we have to do is get over the hump. We've talked about this in 4 different games, so that's a big deal. I thought, you can tell Simpson has made an impact with us. He's the 9th leading receiver in the country, and Karan Smith is the 7th leading rusher. So it's nice to see a couple of the guys that we recruited in this class, plus Karan, getting paid, because they're really playing at a very solid level. And with Karan, despite the workload, he has certainly lived up to his end of the bargain and has stayed healthy so far this year.
Coach, just 3 points in the second half. I know 2 missed field goals, a touchdown called back. But what was the biggest difference on that side of the ball from the first half to the second half?
Just got to keep competing, and get through it. The tough thing is when you have things that take points off the board, that's a big deal. Whether it be penalty, whether it be we had the one where over the line of scrimmage, and then they rule it. They look at it, rule it, and say, well, 1 foot was and 1 foot wasn't. So, tough, bottom line is scoring 3 points in that game in the second half was not going to be enough.
How's George Johnson doing?
Doing good. I just saw him down working out in the training room. So going in the right direction for sure.
And it's Penn State next week, very efficient offense. The defense has been kind of up and down recently. Where are you guys doing to stop the Nittany Lions instead of it?
Well, I'll tell you what, they are 50-50 in the run-pass ratio. So you're going to have balance. Obviously, got to do a great job in the run game on the early downs. And then obviously on third down, you better be ready to handle it. They throw it around pretty good, and they run it well. And he does a good job. The thing I like about the quarterback is he does a very good job of just dumping the ball down, getting it out of his hand and giving the receivers a chance to make first downs. That's kind of a big one. They've been, their big explosive play is a 71-yarder. I think their longest run, 12 yards. I believe it's 12 yards. So, they'll piece it out, but they're happy when they're making 5 and 6 yards a crack, and then obviously making first downs and move the ball down the field in that mode.
Going back to last Saturday, Toledo quarterback Penn, he did a great job using his feet to extend plays. What kind of challenge did he provide for your defense, and can you pinpoint maybe one reason as to why the defense struggled with that aspect?
Well, one of the things that we did in that game is we a little bit more 4-man rush. When you 4-man rush and you're playing coverage, remember we had to make some adjustments in the back end. That's a little different style for us because we're a big 5-man rush team. So I would say getting ourselves acclimated to the four-man rush, a little bit more room, that kind of thing, was certainly a challenge for us. And he's very dynamic, for sure.
Obviously, penalties have been a bit of a
Yeah.
challenge this season. Going into Penn State, where I'm sure there's going to be a very raucous environment, how are you preparing the guys for that sort of environment, I guess?
Well, put the music on nice and loud and let it rip and run all day long. That's really what you do, and try to get the guys used to being in chaos periods. We do that Thunderstruck, which is kind of a ritual every day at practice, and as loud as we can do it, and as fast as we can do it, and that's what we're trying. Constantly trying to create the chaos, so the guys are used to working in that style of an environment.
Moving away from this Saturday's game for a moment, some of your top contributors this season, guys like Tyson and Anthony, Tyler Martin, all guys from the a few guys from the New England region that you were able to, convince to transfer back home from Power 5 schools. Could you kind of describe back in the off season the pitch that you gave those guys, and how much did you really emphasize coming back home?
Well, we did, and the interesting thing is, with the portal, you're not allowed to call guys until they're in the portal. So when guys have made a decision to go into the portal, then you get to do your pitch. With a lot of those guys, the thing that was fortunate for me is I was involved with them at some point during the recruiting process, whether it be out of high school or whatever. So I have personal relationships with those families, so kind of an interesting, dynamic. And this portal thing is, it'll be interesting to see where it continues to grow and go. So.
And then how much do you think it's benefited those guys like Tyson and Anthony to come back home and be able to play in front of possibly more members of their family?
Oh, I think anytime you can touch your family and do things with your family, whether it be before the game, after the game, and then obviously reminisce about all the things that you're doing, I think that's a big deal. It's nice to see our guys enjoying that aspect. And yes, we do have a number of guys that are from the region now that are involved here, and they're working to get a good comfort base as we move forward.
I know you've openly talked about Tyson and his work ethic and his preparation.
Great dude.
Could you describe a little bit just the impact that he's had in his short time here on this program?
Yeah, he's a special guy. Mom and dad, great people. There's no, where it comes from. And again, he's one of those guys, Avon Old Farms, all that, so, kind of a nice feel for him. And he's taken a real leadership role recently. And, it's noticeable, and it's effective as well. He's doing a good job.
Any questions from Zoom? Go ahead, Rich.
Good afternoon, Don. I was just looking at the defensive numbers. So you talked about their offense. They give up less than 10 points a game, and they've given up 48 first downs total in 5 games. How do you battle a defense like that?
You gotta have balance, and you gotta battle. You gotta take what they can give you, and obviously not gonna be. This is a great challenge. You said it. They're ranked very high in the country, and obviously the one thing that they've been able to do as well. I think that works complementary, is their offense stays on the field, which the defense then is allowed to just let it rip and go when they hit the field. I think there's one game, I think they played 35 plays on defense. Yeah, I'm dead serious on that. I think they played in one game 35 plays, but if you go through and look at the amount of plays that they've seen, I think that's it's as low as anybody in the country for sure.
Is it a base defense, 4-3-4, or how do they set line up?
Yeah, well, you know, they'll do those things, but they move around and, you know, they'll come after you a little bit and obviously have a solid back end as well, but their front seven is special.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hi, Kevin.
In terms of going to Penn State, you've obviously been there plenty with Michigan. Is there anything you can kind of tell the guys to get them ready about the stadium, or is it just you got to go there and go through it to know what it's like?
Well, you know, I mean, the place is going to be packed. There's going to be over 100,000 people there. And got to be a big boy and put your big boy pants on and go to work. You know, it's real simple. You know, focus your attention on the task at hand and just stay in the fight for 60 minutes. And, you know, that's kind of the deal, you know. So that's the approach you got to take. It's not rocket science.
Sorry, just one quick follow-up. In terms of, you know, the wins aren't coming, but what are you looking for in practice and just kind of day-to-day to make sure guys aren't checking out?
There's none of that. So let's leave that where it is. There's no checking out. You know, if you look at it, for the last 5 games, we've been very competitive, and we just need to get that second win and get over the hump, and then don't look back. And you know, that's the challenge that I talk about with them all the time. Show up early, stay late. And you know, obviously I think we've been highly competitive 4 of the last 5 games. Arkansas State, not so much.
Go ahead, Pedro.
Coach, obviously no surprise that, or obviously Toledo did run over, I think 350 yards on the game, and you've already faced, I think, 3 teams in the top 25 in rushing offense so far this season, and you've got 2 more coming up in Penn State and Liberty. What can you take from such a run-heavy approach that has done so much damage, and how can you adjust and move on to those next 2 games?
Well, you just got to commit, you know, it's all about numbers. You know, you got to commit your numbers to managing the run game, and if they got 5 in the box, you got to find a way to get the extra guy. If they got 6, extra guy. They got 7, extra guy. Defense, it's pretty easy. You know, numbers are the key, or getting to those numbers through disguise is also key. So, you know, both of those things are important.
Just a quick follow-up, Coach. When you do that and you get the extra numbers in the box to stop those run opportunities there, but how do you do that and still manage to be secure and be able to cover the pass in the back end?
Well, that one I'd have to tell you privately, but some of that has to do with your coverage concepts and the style of coverage that you play, and you know, that's about as far as I can take it. Sorry, bud.
Thanks, Coach. No worries.
Go ahead, Howard.
Don, how are you, first of all? Second of all, can you re-scout Tyson's play from where he was at New Mexico State, and then he gets hurt and his coming back? How quickly do you feel that he's regained what he had in the first game? And just talk to us a little bit about what you've seen from him on the football field as far as his strengths are concerned.
You know, just good leadership ability. As he's continued to grow, he's gotten the respect of his teammates. He has a knack for saying the right things when it's appropriate, but he's not overly wordy. Obviously, his first drive against, Auburn was excellent. And, to be honest, that really set us back a little bit, that second game with Auburn. And, obviously we've been fighting our tail off to get back to that spot that we were at in New Mexico. And, the whole goal for us, get the second win, find a way to get the second win, and then don't look back. And that's one of the things that we kind of talk about as a team.
Take our final question from Laura.
Hey Coach, I know you've talked a lot about how proud you are of the group, and you've just been saying you just need to get over the hump. So what's been the thing that you need to do to just sort of break that?
Well, complimentary football, if you go back to our first game, we had 4 takeaways, and, we were scoring on offense at, and a number of those drives. That's complimentary football. And, that's kind of been the piece that's, that we're talking about. For example, Juan Lua has his first interception of his career last Saturday in a key moment, but we end up not getting any points off of that drive. So, that's what we're talking about, complimentary football. Go get the interception, go finish the drive, that kind of stuff. And, we're working to get back to that for sure.
And I know you've said a few times that the theme really has been show up early, stay late. What do you mean by that?
Well, we had that period of time where we had the 3 games in a row where we got behind, significantly, and then came back 31-28, came back 17-14 lead. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And that happened in 3 games. And, in each one of those games, we didn't do much early, and we just kind of kept fighting and got back into the game and didn't finish it. So that's what we're talking about. And last week, we did show up early. Now, let's stay late. So, that's it. That's the piece.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, all good?
Thanks, Coach.